All right, good morning. We're going to go ahead and start our SEL lesson today. We are going to study Black History Month today. So we're going to begin with a video that helps us understand what is Black History Month. We get to watch a video where some kids are talking about what Black history is, and they get to give their own definition. So friends on Zoom and friends in person, you're focusing your attention, listening and thinking about what is Black History Month. Yes, Theo. Yeah, we're gonna do it like that. All right, yes, Nick.
Is it like a speech they talk about, like a speech?
We're about to hear what these kids think Black History Month is. Here we go.
Black History Month is a commemoration, vocab word, for Black activists, another vocab word,
who took their time out to go fight for what they feel is right. Like
Martin Luther King had a speech that violence is not the answer and no segregation.
we celebrate Black people that helped us change history.
It reminds us to be strong, even in politics.
What matters is what's inside of you and how you act to other people.
Doesn't matter if you're Black, if you're white, just always celebrate it because you know the struggles Black leaders went through in order for you to be here right now.
Even though we may have the different skin color, we're still the same type of people, no matter what.
And a lot of people, they don't see me for who I am. They see my outside appearance, but they don't see what I have on the inside.
It's very hard to grow up knowing that you're Black and you have a lot of personal prejudice against you.
I see it on the TV and I'm like, is that gonna happen to my brother? Is that gonna happen to my dad? I always have that in the back of my mind every time that I'm home and they're not home.
Black history is important to me because I have to remember where I came from and I have to remember who came before me.
because you have to look at the things that Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and Malcolm X did for us Black people, so people can't treat us unfairly because they think some type of belief.
Because we are all people, and you need to stand up for our rights.
There's still discrimination. There's still discrimination in all parts of the world, in all parts of the United States. We should still fight for what we believe in. We should still fight for getting what's right.
Maybe I should have remembered she was the first person she was like,
Yeah. All right, so we have heard some kids describing to them what is Black History Month. So who is listening carefully and thinking about, we have a month in February and it's called Black History Month. So what is that? What did you hear from these kiddos who are describing what it means to them? What did you hear, Nick?
we stand up for what's right.
So we're thinking about standing up for what is right. Kaylee.
I heard it doesn't matter if you're white or Black, you still have to celebrate Black history because Black people did the right thing.
Right, so it's not a month just for Black people. It doesn't matter what your color is. It doesn't matter where you're from. We can still think back and celebrate all the things that Black people have done. So it's not for Black people, it's for everybody, but we call it Black history because we're thinking about the people who have impacted us, who have Black skin color. Okay, so we all get to be a part of celebrating and learning on our focus. What are we going to be learning? We're going to be learning about Black people who had an impact on our country and the world. Angela, what did you hear?
I heard we need fight what we get right.
Yes, we need to stand up for what we believe in. We need to fight for the same rights. And we talked about that when we learned about government, how everybody should have the same rights. But sometimes that doesn't happen in our country. Sometimes people are not treated fairly. So today we're going to learn about a woman in history. She is a Black woman that we're going to learn about today. And we're going to start by listening to a story about her life. We're going to listen to this book. Her name is Bessie Coleman. Can you say Bessie Coleman?
Bessie Coleman.
After we listen to it, we're going to take some notes on who was this person and why is she somebody important that we celebrate and learn about in the Black History Month. Go ahead, Kaylee.
She's the one lady that drives the airplane.
Absolutely. So Kaylee knows a little bit already about who was Bessie Coleman. We're going to listen to a book about her. She was a real person in history. We're going to study her together today.
Wait, that happened?
Nobody Owns the Sky by Reeve Lindbergh. The story of Brave Bessie Coleman. Brave Bessie was the name people gave to the young pilot Bessie Coleman back in the 1920s, when she flew as a daredevil stunt flyer in air shows all over the United States. Born in 1892, the daughter of a Native American father and an African American mother, she grew up at a time when it was difficult for any woman to become a pilot, but for a Black woman it seemed impossible. All the same, Bessie followed her dream, and in 1921 she became the first licensed Black aviator in the world. There was a young woman who wanted to fly, but the people said, "Kiss that wish goodbye. The sky's too big and the sky's too high, and you will never fly, so you'd better not try." But this woman laughed and she just said, "Why? Nobody owns the sky." Up above flew the dove and the raven too, with the redbirds red and the bluebirds blue, and the brown hawks circling far and few, and the call of the swallows that follow the dew, when the high wild geese come traveling through. With the wind on their wings, flying free, flying true, she called to them all, and she said, "Hey you, I'm coming up there too." Bessie Coleman grew up a century ago in a cabin built near where the creek waters flow. She worked picking cotton as white as the snow, and watched cottony clouds up above come and go. Bessie wished she could rise up and fly high and low over Texas a long time ago. Bessie's mother had not learned to read or to write, but her children were raised to be eager and bright. Bessie worked hard at school and she dreamed about flight. People said she was crazy, it wouldn't be right. You're a girl, not a man, and you're not even white. But did she stop dreaming? Not quite. She went off to college and wanted to stay, but it cost so much money that she couldn't pay. She moved to Chicago and worked every day at the White Sox barber shop, earning her way. "White men can fly, why can't I?" she would say, but the flying schools turned her away. Bessie manicured nails while the barber cut hair, and she dreamed about flying but didn't know where. Then one day someone said, "Fly in France, they won't care that you're Black and a woman." So Bessie went there. She was young, tough, and smart. She had courage to spare, and she took like a hawk to the air. Bessie came home a pilot, so happy and proud. She could ride on the wind, glide and spin in a cloud. Parachute, loop-the-loop, Bessie drew a huge crowd. When she flew over airports or fields barely plowed, her courage and daring had everyone wowed. "Brave Bessie!" they shouted out loud. On the ground, Bessie lectured to crowds big and small. People gathered in church or inside the town hall. "Come and fly, boys and girls, Black or white, short or tall. Come and fly, everybody. Come answer my call. The air has no barrier, boundary, or wall. The blue sky has room for us all." Bessie's life was not long, but she flew far and wide. In Chicago, she showed off a Richtofen glide. Her air shows in Boston left crowds starry-eyed, but in Jacksonville, Florida, everyone cried, because Bessie's plane failed, and she fell, and she died. "Farewell to brave Bessie," they sighed. Other young men and women soon wanted to fly, and the people said, "Why don't you give it a try? The sky's still big and the sky's still high, but you're bound to get there by and by. Just remember her words till the day you die. Nobody owns the sky. Look above, see the dove and the raven too, with the redbirds red and the bluebirds blue, and the brown hawks circling far and few, and the call of the swallows that follow the dew, when the high wild geese come traveling through, with the wind on their wings flying free, flying true. You can call to them all, you can say, hey you, I'm coming up there too. The end.
Okay, so we have just heard a little bit about the life of Bessie Coleman and how she became a pilot even though she was a woman and even though her skin color was black. And at that time in our country, only men were pilots. Only men who had white skin were pilots. So when she was a little girl and she wanted to be a pilot, people said, "You're crazy. You're not even white and you're a girl." But she said, "Nobody owns the sky. I can fly just like them." So she did it. She worked very hard and she became a pilot. So today we're going to think about why is she important and why is she somebody that we want to learn about during Black History Month. Please join me on Seesaw. You may click Activities, Assign to Class folder, and light blue SEL folder. Our task is called BHM, that stands for Black History Month, and the title is Bessie Coleman. Go ahead and open your task, please. We've got some questions here to think about today in response to our story that we heard about a real person. The first question I want you to think about was, who was Bessie Coleman? Who was she? I want you to type a response using a third grade sentence and answer, who was she? You have 3 minutes to type your answer to question number 1, answering who was Bessie Coleman. Sorry about that. Our question number 2 says, why is she important? Why? When we ask a why question, we look for a reason. Why is she important? Why would we take the time to talk about her and listen to a book about her? Why would the author choose to write a book about Bessie Coleman? I want to know your opinion. Why is she important to learn about? You have 3 minutes to type a third grade sentence below number 2, and then we'll share out friends on Zoom and friends in person. 3 minutes begins now.